Restaurant Operator Podcast. I'm Mandy Detwiler, editor of Pizza Marketplace and QSRweb, and I'm here today with Parrish Chapman, Chief Revenue Officer for kiosk company GRUBBRR, and we're going to be chatting all about GRUBBRR's Guarantee today. Thanks for being with us, Parrish.
Hey, Mandy, thanks for having us. I look forward to the conversation.
Well, first, why don't you tell me what the GRUBBRR Guarantee is?
Well, the GRUBBRR Guarantee, quite simply, is we know operators today have a lot of cost pressures. They have a lot of news about their business and operations, what they need to do to really improve their operations, how to automate. And the GRUBBRR Guarantee at the highest level is saying, if you do business with GRUBBRR and our kiosk platform, we will guarantee our results, or you don't pay a SAS. It's that simple. We want operators to know when they go with GRUBBRR that they can trust us. We're a great business partner, and we're going to help their operations.
What inspired GRUBBRR to introduce the GRUBBRR Guarantee at this time? Why now?
Well, I think we looked across all the market conditions with food cost pressures, cost of goods pressure, everything from the inconsistency of what's happening with the economy. And we know across our different verticals how we're improving operations, improve customer service scores, and how we're helping operators smooth out operations and shift labor from stressful areas on the POS to facilitation of orders and speed of service. And the benefit's really huge. So we wanted to echo this out to the marketplace and let operators know that we believe so much in it that we're standing behind our ability to be successful technology platform for their business.
Can you explain the key components of the GRUBBRR Guarantee and how it benefits restaurant operators?
Yeah, first of all, we have a limited subscription basis. We want to make sure that we have room and we dedicate resources. So if people are interested, I'll say, well, number one, reach out very quickly. Number one. Number two will be, there are some key components. We'd like you to have 30 locations or more. You don't have to go to every location from day one, but because we're investing so much time and talents with this program, we want to have the ability to scale with an operator. Two is you have to provide reporting to us 30 days before we go live, sales data, credit card transactions, operational data. And then during the pilot of us proving this success, you still have to report that, because what we do is we compare our results, the automation in the kiosk results, to human activity on the front counter. And then what we say is if GRUBBRR grows that check average, improves your speed of service, those type of metrics, we make enough increase on the increase of the ticket average compared to a human that it pays for the technology. And we're seeing with most of our clients that's happening. That's really the basic of it, is that we want you to be a great partner and we want to prove our value. Now, here's something else, Mandy. I think it's real important. We have customer service representatives at our company that will manage the program. We'll deploy it for them. And the biggest concern we have with operators today is they're out of time. There's so many pressures coming down on operators. They don't have the day cycles, man cycles, human people to really help out with tech. But at GRUBBRR, I think what's really special about our company is we have deployment teams, we have customer service from day one, and then we have analytics. So every week we'll meet with you on this program and we'll explain the business metrics, and then you vote if you want to move forward or not, right? How do we fix the operations? Maybe there's marketing detail we need to look at. Maybe it's training on the front counter, which we help with. So that's kind of the program.
Let's talk about ROI for the customer. Mm-hmm. What specific metrics or performance indicators does GRUBBRR use to measure the return on investment for clients?
Yeah, so the main metric I'll have to say is just ticket growth and number of transactions, right? So if you look at what we're seeing across the board, we have some clients that average 10% use rate of the kiosk. So let's say out of 100 people that come in the front door, 10 people use the kiosk. We know that's the lowest threshold to show ROI, right? But what goes into that number is we actually, the low is 10% and the high is 47%, right? When you still have front counter point of sale. Now, if you remove the front counter point of sale, like we have in the military bases in some of our locations, you have 100% use of the kiosk. We know that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to replace humans. We're not trying to replace POS. We're trying to provide an order channel that people gravitate to that's a great experience. It merges the online digital, the consistency of the program. So what we look at is throughput, ticket growth, and usage of the kiosk.
Could you share some success stories or case studies where GRUBBRR Solutions has significantly improved a client's operations and ROI?
Yeah, I think that at the best we have some published like PDQ, where we doubled their throughput capabilities at peak hours. We've grown their check average 27%. And what we're seeing is if somebody wants to reach out, we scrub the data and neutralize the data where if you're in the burger business, we can show you across the burger category what our results are: chicken, health food, Asian cuisine. And we have those metrics for every vertical we play in. And we're happy to share those if somebody wants to reach out to us and we can provide those. But at the low end, we're seeing 10% check average growth to 37% check average growth if you handle the upsell properly. And I think this is what, Mandy, I need brands to understand. This is not a Times Square selling. This is not in your face pop-up menus. This is value added educational upselling. So when you select a set of product, we know what other people have bought with that after 60 days. And it's an educated upselling. Hey, other people have found value with this. For example, you do some light upselling. We craft that menu experience to where people enjoy it, and it's an add-on education for them, and they can play with the tech and really have fun when they're ordering, and it makes it an enjoyable experience. So we're just not pop-up menus, upselling. We take care in understanding what the brand would like to have, what their aura is that they want to have like a different add-on a time of day, and our menu design team takes great care and understanding what the brand goals are and what their image is in the marketplace. A Dave's Hot Chicken is much different than a Bojangles, right?
Right.
And so one size does not fit all.
Okay. What are the requirements for a business to qualify for the GRUBBRR Guarantee?
Yep.
And what about the onboarding process? What does that entail?
Yeah, obviously we have to make sure our tech stack matches your tech stack. For example, we have a lot of integrations, all the major POS companies, Olo, for example. We can go in through Olo is a great partner, NCR, PAR, Square, all the different POS companies are out there. Number one, if you're using a POS system, maybe that's not the normal or is a POS system we don't play well with, we have 90% of them. That's number one. We have to make sure we have tech stack, integration, right? Two is if you're using a loyalty platform or gift cards, we want to make sure again that we have a tech stack that matches your need, because what we don't want to have is a broken experience. So a great example of a broken experience: you go to use a kiosk, but you can't earn and burn your loyalty points. That does not work, right? So Number one is that we want to make sure we have a great technology integration and that we can support you with that. If not, we have to build that, which we can do. Number two is we want you to have at least 30 locations because we know we're doing a lot of work. And then three would be you have to share your sales results to us ahead of time, like we talked about, 30 days prior. And then during the pilot program, 90 days, while we're onboarding, getting everything installed, designing your menus, we ask the operator to give us 90 days to optimize, the GUI, the UI, the reporting, because, every location may be a little different. We want to make sure that we're optimizing the results with the right marketing collateral on site. And then we kick off the guarantee after 90 days.
What about support? What kind of support and resources does GRUBBRR provide to their clients to ensure successful implementation and ongoing performance?
Yeah, I think day one support, Mandy, is so important for people in the restaurant business, because the days of having dark hardware, dark software not working, nothing is more frustrating than an employee trying to get something to work and customers want to use it and they don't know what to do. So number one, let's talk about support in different categories. So bucket one would be hardware support and remote access. So all of our technology we understand what's happening. We have automatic reporting from the software and hardware. For example, if a payment's not taking in so much time, we're alerted to that. If the device is out of paper, we can alert that automatically. So our detailed complex management software looks at hardware, software, and the perennials attached to that kiosk, and it's all automated. So we can let the team know ahead of time if there's a problem, and then we can dial into that kiosk and address any issues. That's so important, because we just don't want to task in-store personnel with IT work, number one, right? And then the secondary level of support is our customer support team. After day one, we design the reporting. So let's say we had Mandy's Burgers. So you're a really great burger company. we ask you, Mandy, to agree on what it will take for you to scale. What kind of ticket average you'd like to have growth? Is it more throughput than you normally have? Is it using the front counter labor in different areas of the store, right? Instead of having 3 POS people, maybe you're going to have 2, and you'll have the other one being floating around, cleaning tables, producing orders through the drive-through. And we ask for those metrics. So we agree with you, Mandy, before we install what those metrics are, and then we do reporting once a week. We ask the operator to come to a meeting and support us during that, and we have the data and we agree. And then let's say when we go to install is when the tire meets the road. We go out, we handle the installation, the site surveys, where to place the kiosk. The operator needs to provide data and power to the location that we agree for the installation, right? We have to have both those items to install a kiosk, and then we provide marketing material. I think what we do really well is we want to put the kiosk in a place to be successful, not only for the humans coming into the location, but for our in-store people. And what I mean by that is we want to make sure that it's not put somewhere that it's in the wrong travel path of customers, or it's in the way of the crew. And so we take great care of understanding that. And then we train the crew. We have a playbook, and we design this playbook for every brand. Every brand in the restaurant business, Mandy, has their own love language: light ice, heavy ice, no sauce, whatever their love language is. And we want to understand what a brand's love language is. Then we take that love language and put it in a playbook. And then we train the people at each location, because we're inserting new tech in the career path of their business and their operations, how to handle it if something goes awry. And so we train them on that, and we make it a game. And then we have prizes for the team. If the operator will allow us, we have contests, how much usage, we do a pizza party or gift cards. So we want to make sure, number one, the core of our tech is customer service, great experience. And then we have to make sure the in-store teams also have a great experience. Because as we know in this business, if you lose the in-store teams, they'll turn the tech off, they'll turn it around. They'll tell customers, come over here. Don't, that kiosk is replacing us. So we want to take great care with that branding and that training from day one. So that's some of the support we offer.
How does the integration of GRUBBRR's technology, such as the self-ordering kiosks, impact customer experience and operational efficiencies in restaurants?
Yeah, so number one, we own all our own integrations. We don't use third-party pipes to go into a client or loyalty programs. And the reason why we spend the time and invest, we want to control those integrations and make sure they're stable, they're secure. Being a SOC 2 compliant company, we want to make sure that we're very secure. I'll say it again, we want to be very secure with data and the operation of the kiosk. So once we have that, we integrate into the POS system, loyalty programs, gift cards, right, and payment. The customer determines the payment technology. Is it Freedom Pay? Is it WorldPay? Olo Pay? And we attach to those and use those. So we don't require them to switch payment devices. We integrate into their existing tech stack where it makes sense, right? And then we make sure everything is working and efficient. And here's what I'll say, and this is where we have to be so careful. What we learned about the business: if you're used to ordering online, and then you come into the store, that's a different procedure in your mind, because a lot of times online ordering does not offer the same menu items that you have in the store. So what I'll tell you is these integrations are so important that the menus have to be capable of the menu board, or what the POS and the crew members order now with their clients. We have to make sure that you can do everything on the kiosk that you can do at the front counter, right? And so we audit those menus and make sure that if you're used to going to Bojangles and ordering a biscuit and a cup of coffee, but you can't do that online, you have to be able to do it in the store. So we make sure we have technology parity on those integrations, and then the digital menus. So we can offer all those programs, Mandy, and the gift cards and the experience. What we never want to happen is Parrish goes in, he can't earn and burn points on his loyalty. He can't get his favorite Dairy Queen Blizzard, for example, the way he wants it. And so that's really what we look at on our technology stack.
Okay. What about your partnerships with hardware providers like Samsung? How does that enhance the overall solution offered to clients?
Right. So here's the way that GRUBBRR views hardware. It's a vessel for us to provide a great technology experience for their customers, our brand's customers, and the employees. So we have integrations into Samsung's a great partner. We have Android as a great platform as well. We have we have like 20 different hardware providers we can use based on several factors. Number one, cost, right? I mean, we hear that number one, cost, serviceability, long-term plans of the brand, right? How we're going to service that technology. Is it a 3-year extended warranty, a 5-year? Is it Samsung's program that will always have parts in stock, or is it an Android device that has different components because the front counter is smaller? You need a smaller footprint. While we do have certain partnerships, we want to make sure that the end result is that we have the space for the tech, we understand how we're going to service it, and then we really want to understand the tech stacking ingredients. So for example, you may be using an Android because of your payment system you have, and we have to use Android because you're already using Android in your environment. What we don't want to do is try to insert Windows when you're an Android house. That really does make IT departments frustrated.
Right.
And so that's part of the hardware discussion we have. And then once we look at all these holistic, items for hardware, then we can talk about software and the fun things, right? And the integration and service and support. We have a 24/7 support line at GRUBBRR we have based on where you are in the country. And we offer those support services built into our SaaS model.
In what ways does GRUBBRR technology address current challenges in the restaurant industry, such as labor shortages or increasing operational costs? What about that?
Yeah, I think, what we're seeing overall is, I think when we first started this business, when GRUBBRR first started, 6 years ago, we heard from operators, we want to replace labor. That was really the big mantra, right? We want to replace labor. Or if you're in California, like I'm in today, California, we don't have enough labor, or the labor is $25, $30 an hour, for example. So how do you balance a labor shortage or inconsistency of labor and language? For example, you might have great people in the kitchen, great people at the speed of service areas and facilitating orders and putting things in bags. But let's be honest, the POS position is the most stressful position to staff. You have to be patient, polite, articulate, and run technology in a high-speed environment. So now what we're saying is our technology will offset and take the stress off the front counter and reposition it to where the customer owns that order process. And then you can have less expensive employees doing other tasks in the restaurant to speed of service or ordering in the kitchen. And really, Mandy, what we're seeing is that the customer service scores increase in the dining room and on drive-through because you can reposition people. And what we call this in the business, Mandy, we want aces in their places. And what I mean by that is, if you're really great on the grill at Wendy's, you have grill skill, you shouldn't be at the front counter taking orders. Your skill set is on the grill, right? Or if you're at Bo's and you're processing orders and you're putting things in bags, you're not the best asset to have in the kitchen. So what we're seeing is our technology allows for the best planning for aces in their places in the restaurant business.
How does GRUBBRR stay ahead of industry trends and continuously innovate its solutions to meet the evolving needs of the restaurant sector?
Yeah, I think let's talk about AI. Let's talk about AI, and let's talk about egg prices too. I'm kidding. That's what I hear about a lot from operators, how much eggs are and what about AI? I like to make things simple because there's so many things in the world that are complex. We're not trying to solve world hunger. We're not trying to produce water and take fresh water from seawater in the restaurant business. All we're trying to use AI for is smart upselling and improved labor management. So at our platform, we have the capability starting next quarter where we have smart upselling. So once an operator turns our kiosk on, and say they have it in a couple of locations, we understand after 60 days what people are finding enjoyable about companion products and what they're buying together. And then the AI will automatically make those recommendations based on that brand's food language. And I think this is so important. There's two types of AI. There's AI that is rules-based. If Mandy orders a Coca-Cola, offer a cookie. That's a rules-based AI. Where we are now is unattended AI that learns a brand's food language and then offers that to the customer to surprise and delight them, right? And what we found is doing the testing is that the AI will understand what customers pair together before we understand it to create a new menu item or load balancing in the kitchen. We can even use it. So let's say you go to Wiener Schnitzel and you buy a low cost corn dog. We now know that we should offer you a higher ROI item to offset that cost structure in a restaurant. And so we look at AI as surprise and delight, understanding the food language of a brand and their menu pairing, and then how do we get more profitability from each customer?
What do you see brands struggling with when it comes to the adoption of kiosks?
I think the struggle is so real because there's so many things coming at operators nowadays in the restaurant business. And I used to be a past owner operator, and I'm so sensitive to time wasting or situations that they just don't have the man hours to train, install, and understand new technologies. And so what happens is I think as operators get overload, there's so much new tech coming at them so quickly. How do you know what to pick for your brand and what's important? The number one thing we hear, Mandy, is this: we don't want to replace humans. Our brand loves interaction with humans at the front counter. It's a core DNA of our brand. And what we're seeing is a great digital platform allows you to do both. It allows you to have a consistent ordering. It allows you to have the same LTO offers and offer the customer the same LTOs online, on menu boards, in store, at a kiosk. And then what happens is the reset of the front counter area, the labor, you can take those and put them in the dining room and talk to guests and have a great interaction. So some of the fears are, I don't have time. Is this technology going to go stale? We just talked about how we're not doing that and how we're constantly updating. And then we don't want to replace the machines with humans. And that's some of the difficulties we've seen in the business.
What about the customer? What do you see them struggling with?
I think it really depends on the brand and how old the brand is and what the neighborhood is. And so I think a great example is that, when we rolled out with Bojangles and did testing, there was massive concerns about would they adopt a kiosk, right? Because number one, their age of the demographic in some of the areas, the age of the long-standing franchise owner, operators, and crew members have been with the brand. What a great brand that is. And so what we found is that wasn't true, right? And there's three types of kiosk operations. And let's just talk about that for a second. Number one, you place the kiosk on the front counter. So when people travel up to the front counter, they have the option of using the kiosk or using one of the POS. You're making it in the natural travel path of the customer right where the transaction happens. We're seeing the highest and best use rate when the kiosk is on the front counter. And then also, let's say, Mandy, you're behind the front counter and you see a customer that's maybe struggling on the kiosk or they're new to it. You can kind of talk to them as you're doing other things behind the counter, stuffing that biscuit in a bag, rolling up everything, checking the order platform. And then we see the other use rate is you put the kiosk on the way to the POS area where customers can naturally gravitate towards, where it's a natural. So let's say you have someone who's an older demo like myself. I don't want to use the kiosk. I can go to the front counter. But if you have a younger demo or somebody who naturally wants to use the kiosk, who's kiosk curious, they can play and have fun, right? And then we're going to remove the POS off the front counter and let everybody use the kiosk. And we do have customers doing that. For example, they're in the military, Andrews Air Force Base. The POS is not there. So that population is using the kiosk 100% of the times, right? The only times you'd use a POS if there's a conflict of the order, a rebate potentially, or some off-priced item you need to input. And that's the three areas that we're seeing how people are using kiosk. And here's one of the things I'll mention about kiosk as well that's so important. When we first started, people put one kiosk, maybe just one. But what we found is if you have two or three, the use rate increases and the use of the kiosk goes up and you have a higher ticket average because people do not want to wait. So if that kiosk is busy, they bump out or are dissatisfied. But by adding two or three kiosks, you have a better consistent platform. People can naturally go use the kiosk and not have to wait. And then you decrease your wait times, but increase your ability to put throughput through the restaurant.
What about future plans or upcoming features that GRUBBRR has that you guys are developing to further support restaurant operators?
Yeah, I think that we have some great programs coming out that we think that our back office, we call it better back office. We have analytics now that we can export. We just launched recently to somebody's business or BI platform if they want to have that intelligence. But each one of our kiosks come with a dashboard built into it. So we look at all the business metrics of the health of the business. And this information is happening like this. So think about this. When you have a POS, it's a black box, and that data is housed there, and you don't get to see it. Visually, it's not there until you pull the data and organize it, or some platform may have. But with our platform, you can export it. You can create a customized dashboard. You can dial into our dashboard and see your metrics. And that information is so quick coming towards you. And then you can format that data to make improved menu item selection, look at cost structures on your menu, or improve your menu board design or your online ordering platforms, because this data is so rich. So when you touch our kiosk now, no matter where you're touching, we want to understand how long you're there, what you're doing, and then how can we improve that, right? We call that the DNA of a menu, dissecting that. And the last thing I'll tell you is we worry about abandonment. Nothing is more frustrating, zero, that a Parrish goes up and we're eating together. We're in our favorite restaurant, you and I, Mandy, and we go in to order and something happens on the kiosk and we get frustrated and go to the front counter. We monitor that abandonment rating like it's gold. Like, okay, we set a threshold. We want to be at 89%, 92% order completion. And then if that doesn't happen, we ask the question, why? Why did that happen? And then we go fix it.
Okay. I guess my last question is how can interested businesses learn more about the GRUBBRR Guarantee and begin the process of partnering with GRUBBRR?
Yeah, I think just reach out to GRUBBRR. We have, a phone number they can click on or call or email us, no matter how we assign it. And here's what I'll tell people. We want to learn about your business. So even if you're somewhat curious about GRUBBRR, call us. We'll help you look at your business to understand before you sign up or do anything, is your business right for kiosk? Do you have room for a kiosk? What are your sales? If you provide some of this data to our analyst or our team, we'll come back to you and make recommendations. And I'll tell you, kiosk is not for everybody, Mandy. And we'll tell you up front, hey, listen, this is an opportunity. This is what we learned. This is what you need to do. Is your heart in it? Can you make room for the kiosk? Or there may be a sales issue, right? The way their POS is featured, because we connect into the POS and then we reformat that data. We want the POS to be the king. So when you make changes on the POS, pricing, inventory levels, everything's automatic on the kiosk. So we love talking to restaurateurs. It's in our DNA, and we want to help people. So even if you have a question about kiosk, you're not sure, you reach out to GRUBBRR, and we want to provide data that you understand and you find of value.
All right. Well, that'll do it. I think that's all of our questions for today. Thanks so much for being with us. This has been awesome.
Well, Mandy, thanks so much. We're learning as we go every month in our business, and we just want to help restaurateurs and operators be better and have a great experience with technology. So thanks for having me today.
No problem. And that'll do it for this episode of the Restaurant Operator Podcast, and we'll catch you next time.